if there's a God, then why is there so much suffering? So here's the apologetic trilemma. It's a triple dilemma that is there. So the three parts involve. If God is all-powerful, and God is all-loving, and evil exists, then I want nothing to do with him. That's what people will say. So if God is like, he can do anything, and he's so loving, then why is there all this evil in the world? It's almost like he's sadistic or something. So I don't even want to know this God. I've seen too much evil, and I'm turned off towards that. So in looking at this, with each of these questions that I'm going to go through, I would encourage you, if someone actually brings this up, don't just start in answering right away, but just, you could say, that's an amazing question. It's great to see that you're a thinking person, that you're a logical thinking person, and I think it's great that you're thinking about these things. You should be thinking about these things. Tell me more, right? And so you're trying to draw out, tell me a little bit more of where this is coming from. And then I would encourage you to consider that if you're going to talk about the attributes of God, like he's all-powerful and all-loving, that we have to look at all the attributes of God. So it also says that God is all-wise, and that we have to admit that if there's really a God who created all this with intelligent design, then there's something out there he's got a bigger brain than I do, and I might not be able to fully understand everything about God. And then another attribute of God is that God is eternal, and so there might be a timing factor that's built into this that I don't see. So I get one slice in time right here, and I'm making a judgment, but what if God is eternal, and there's time that needs to be factored in? And then I would take people to the 6 posters we have in the hallway back there, those nice graphics. Last year we talked about the story of God, and I would say we have to think of context when it comes to talking about God. And the context is God created, right? Then God was rejected by us. Then God promises, and he's going to find a solution for us. Then God appears, and then God sends us out, and then God restores. So that's the big story of God, and that's the context of Scripture. And so when we say to ourselves, like, why is there so much suffering? Another way to ask the question is, why is there any good at all? Because, like, we have cut the umbilical cord. We've separated ourselves from God. Why is there any good at all? And so when you're asking these questions, you have to think of context. You have to think of the context. In fact, the end of the story, God restores everything. We talk about God as being a healer, all right? And that he takes suffering and he says, the temporary sufferings that you experience here on earth don't even weigh in the balance compared to the glory that is going to be revealed. So when you take time and eternity and the fact that God is all-wise, he's telling us in Scripture that he will wipe away all our tears, that he will bring healing, that he will bring restoration. And for as deep as the pain, and I acknowledge I don't know and understand the depth of everyone's pain, but as deep as the pain, God is saying that he's going to restore all things and to trust him in that. It's kind of like the context of surgery. A little kid goes to surgery and he's like, that hurts, and he's angry that hurts, but he doesn't understand. You need this surgery, right? And so in the theology of suffering in the Bible, I'll just close with two reasons for suffering. One is the ceasing effect, that when you've suffered, you've ceased from sin. So an example would be the Buffalo Bills safety had a heart attack. So Damar Hamlin, remember this week, the headline? So he falls down on the ground, and is he going to die? And what do you see is all of a sudden, everyone is praying, right? Even the ESPN commentator is like literally praying on live TV. And so there's something about suffering that kind of gets our attention and starts us realizing, whoa, like there is a God, and I should be paying attention. Another part of suffering is that the Bible tells us that it actually builds character in us, that through hard things, we learn how to persevere, it builds character, and then we meet God in a new way, and it gives us hope, right? And so there's different areas to the theology of suffering. So when we ask the question, if there's a God, why is there so much suffering? I commend you for asking that question, And it's an incredible question. Let's talk about God, and then you bring in some of this context, all right? I hope that's helpful for you because that's a common question.